Jet surf is a motorized surfboard. We designed it for lovers of motorsports, adrenaline sports. It sort of started by accident. My friend said we should make a small board with a motor. And I said, yeah, I'll do the board and you do the motor. I'm a really fanatical skier, so we sort of developed a sport for ourselves. We soon realized that we had something that might be interesting for other people, and the product that you see before you today developed out of this. We wanted to make a real motorsport craft, something that would be extremely light, made from the best materials that are available today, like carbon fiber, aluminium, stainless steel, and in the future, titanium too. Of course, what we're trying to do now is to create our own racing series. That would allow us to showcase our boards and also to differentiate from any possible copies that might come along in the future. Jet surf is made for water sports enthusiasts. Initially, we set out to make a board which would excel on flat water. We started out by developing a board that could race around buoys along a track, racing. But the real ultimate goal of this sport is to get the board onto the big waves, Hawaiian style. Big, long, tubular waves. We tried the board out in Hawaii, where we got world champion Kai Lenny to help us test the board. We discovered that this type of motorized board with a combustion engine really excels on the big waves and takes us into undreamt of surfing possibilities. We have our own R&D for the hull, our own hydrodynamics R&D to help us shape the board so that it functions as it should. There's a big difference between motorized surfing and standard surfing. The shape of the jet surf is closer to that of a small speedboat than a surfboard. The aim was not to make it look exactly like a surfboard, but to have the same movements as you would have on a snowboard or surfboard. The hull is completely made of Kevlar carbon fiber. There's a turbine which is visible from the bottom of the board. It's the only turbine anywhere in the world which is 100% Kevlar. There are also bindings on the hull to strap your feet in to better control the board. There's also an engine hatch, which is also Kevlar. The hatch is a great place to see just how light this material is. It's only 150 grams in total, and yet there's no way you could break it. Inside the hull is the combustion engine and the exhaust system. The exhaust system is the true heart of the power of the jet surf. It's our own patented system. This allows us to get the power we need out of such a small engine to power a rider up to 50 kilometers an hour. Inside the hull, we also have a control unit which controls starting and safety of the board. Which means, for example, when a rider falls off the board, the engine cuts out immediately. When the rider wants to restart the engine, he puts in a chip and the motor starts. The rider has a throttle trigger in his hand to control speed, and in certain situations, he can also use the throttle cable for stability. The JetSurf's engine is made up of a two-stroke combustion motor with a capacity of either 86 cc or 100 cc. So that the motor has the maximum possible power, it needs to have really high-quality castings, so that the interior space of the motor is perfectly shaped. We've really specialized in the development of these two-stroke engines, which we transferred into JetSurf, so that our motor is very lightweight. It weighs less than 6 kilos and has 15 horsepower. It's a matter of how the engine is tuned to the turbine, so that you can achieve up to 200 horsepower per litre.
Dá se říct, že máme skoro až 200 koní z litrů výkonu. Každý motor vlastně po montáži.
Every motor, once it's assembled, is brought into this room where we measure various parameters like torque, RPM, temperature, emissions, the basic settings and checks of the motor, so that when the JetSurf is assembled, we can be 100% sure that everything is okay. We test the engines for 20 minutes. Then, once it's assembled, it goes into the JetSurf, and then it's tested in the pool again for 20 minutes before going to the customer. So each motor has been tested for at least 40 minutes.
Zákazníkovi tak má za sebou zhruba 40 minut jízdy toho spalovacího motoru.
I've worked for years in motorsports. We tried to advance JetSurf as alternate cross-training for racers. Many of them are forbidden to race outside of their sports because it can cause problems. Riding a JetSurf is a complex activity which requires the rider to use muscles which are then used in their regular racing that are connected with balance and strength. They also have to work out where to apply the gas and where to lift off, useful skills in all motorsports. And it's relaxing too. That's why world-famous racers like Sebastian Loeb and from motorcycling, Jakub Kornfeil, use JetSurfs so they can cross-train during the summer seasons, so that they can stay connected to motorsports in a much safer environment, relatively.
To je třeba z motocyklů světa Jakub Kornfeil. Využívají tady toto prkno proto, aby trénovali, aby v průběhu té letní sezóny měli být ve spojení s motorsportem, ale přitom to bylo bezpečné, relativně bezpečné.
For me, on a JetSurf, I train a lot of various skills which I can later on use when I'm racing on my bike. Mainly it's about balance, coordination, the stability and so on. It's great. When I'm on a JetSurf, I'm using all these muscles, but at pretty low speeds, so if I fall, it doesn't hurt. I've even taken part in the races here in Brno, which is in its third year. I've generally got an advantage over the other JetSurf racers because it always seems to me that I'm traveling really slowly compared to MotoGP.
Tudíž prostě, když jedu ty závody, tak ty bojky mně to přijde, jak kdybych prostě stál vůči těm bojkám, což mám obrovskou výhodu proti těm ostatním závodníkům, kteří do toho závodu nastupovali.
It's a fantastic sport. I don't know any other sport that is so interesting for everyone.
Pro každého.